Hey guys, how y'all doing today? My name is Franchise Fanatic, and welcome back to the channel. And today, if you guys, this is another movie review. Now, you're probably wondering, Franchise Fanatic, why are you putting a picture of Ash Williams in the thumbnail, right? That's weird, Well, yeah, I thought so too. So, I actually saw the Lee Cronin's The Mummy movie, which, by the way, I have not seen a mummy movie before. I have not seen one from, the black and white one. I saw none with my twin, Brendan Fraser. I also saw none with Tom Cruise, which apparently the Brendan Fraser and the Tom Cruise one's the same canon, same continuity. I haven't seen them. Probably should one time. I hear they're, fun, creepy-ish, but, good action movies. That's what I hear. But yeah, so I figured, hey, we're going to get into, we'll see. We'll see Lee Cronin's The Mummy, right? Now, I couldn't get anyone to go with me, so I went by myself, which is kind of a bummer, but, whatever. I had the popcorn to keep me company, right? But no, there were a lot of people in the theater. There was a couple next to me, and I think some person by himself by the back, and, it was actually a pretty crowded theater. And that's cool, because I think that this movie is very polarizing, right? It's very, controversial, I guess. I don't really know why. But this is by Lee Cronin, which, you have half the people being like, oh, cool, Lee Cronin. And then you have half who are like, who the hell's Lee Cronin, right? I was in the former, where I'm like, Lee Cronin's the guy who directed Evil Dead Rise, right? One of my favorite horror movies from probably my favorite horror franchise. So I'm like, cool, I'll effing see this, right? How bad can it be, right? And turns out it was great, but it's not a spoiler. But they interviewed Perry Nemiroff, whatever her name is. She like some movie lady. She interviewed Lee Cronin, right, the director, the writer-director, and she was like, hey, in this interview, she was like, hey, is there a chance that, because the movie is very Evil Dead Rise in a lot of ways, is there a chance that this film is, canon or in some sort of way connected to Evil Dead Rise, right? And obviously, if you're a big Evil Dead fan, you know that there are 3 Necronomicons, at least that we know of, right? There's the main one from the Ash trilogy and the Evil Dead TV show. The second one is from 2013's Evil Dead, not a reboot, not a remake. And then you have Evil Dead Rise, which is the 3rd book, right? So there's 3 kind of main books that are in the same continuity, same world, same lore, right? And then, of course, there is Drag Me to Hell, which is another Sam Raimi film, which is also connected to Evil Dead 2013, which is obviously connected to the rest. So, yeah, Drag Me to Hell is canon to the Evil Dead. And then you also got, this movie, The Mummy. And Lee Cronin was like, yeah, this movie is canon. There is a character in the film that has a name that is the same name as a character in Evil Dead Rise. And I saw that, and I was walking on the treadmill after the movie, and I almost fell off the treadmill, because I am a big Evil Dead fan, as you could probably tell, and this was like a holy crap moment, right? This was insane, because when I was in the theater watching this film, right, and I did enjoy it, there were moments that felt kind of cliche, or I guess kind of derogatory, I guess, or like derivative of Evil Dead Rise, because I get it, right? Same director, same writer, same energy, right? That ain't a bad thing, but, there are moments, without spoiling it, where, like, the little girl, not Katie, the other little girl, says, Mom, right, to a door, just like in Evil Dead Rise, right? And it's not just that, right? There are, for some reason, everyone on effing Twitter is like, all of a sudden, like a movie magic, like, freaking champ, because all I see are, like, posts like, oh, he uses a split diopter. He's using a split diopter, guys. Did you know that? Did you know that Lee Cronin uses a split diopter? I don't know why I sounded like Trump there for a second, but yeah, he uses a split diopter, okay, which is apparently a device where you have something in the foreground, and then you have something in the background, right? It kind of just like, it blends together, and there's one's in focus, one's not. He loves that shit, apparently, and people really, really love to point that out. And yes, there are things that are very, very much Evil Dead Rise, right? There's an apartment, and there's a house, and there are people trapped in said house. And, crazy stuff happens in that house, and there are demons and whatever. And, look, it's kind of hard to say, because there is a sense of familiarity, but then again, like, what else do you do with a demon movie? You know what I mean? Like, yeah, the demon's gonna F up your family. What do you think's gonna happen? They're gonna play chess, So there's kind of a sense of, oh, okay, yeah, like, I've been there before. And that was one of my negatives, right? Like, oh, okay, like literally, I'm thinking, I'm watching Evil Dead Rise, but just there's a little mummy girl. That's it. You know what I mean? Instead of Deadites, it's a mummy or whatever they call it, a Samaranian or whatever. Then, thankfully, I was relieved to see that, yeah, like, it's canon to the Evil Dead. It is literally a part of this franchise. And people aren't talking about it, and it's pissing me off. Because you get these people on Twitter who are like, where's the Evil Dead Burn trailer? And they freak out. It's like, dude, like, you don't have to love the Mummy movie. I'm not saying that. But if you're a massive Evil Dead fan, like myself, and you are starving, like myself, for Evil Dead Burn trailer, like myself, you will be very relieved to know that Lee Cronin's The Mummy is an Evil Dead movie. Much like how Argyle, that spy movie that I'm the only person on the earth who saw and actually enjoyed, imagine my shock when at the end of Argyle, spoiler alert for a movie that you're never going to watch, turns out that Argyle is actually a Kingsman film. It's canon to Kingsman, which is freaking awesome. Because I actually really, I love Kingsman, The Secret Service. I think Golden Circle is one of the best movies ever made. I think The Kingsman is really good, and Argyle is good. So yeah, I mean, that was cool. But, to also go out of The Mummy and realize that, it's kind of wild to me that this dude, like, dropped an Evil Dead film out of freaking nowhere, and, like, no one's talking about it. And yeah, it is a blink and you miss it type of moment, right? But, like, that's still canon. Like, the director literally said it's canon, and there's a character whose last name is also the last name of a character in Evil Dead Rise. And Evil Dead Rise is canon to everything else Evil Dead. So yeah, it's officially a part of the lore. Same with Drag Me to Hell. And it's crazy that no one knows this. Even though it's wildly available on the internet. Like 5 people on Twitter apparently know that. So if you're starving for Evil Dead Burn trailer, I mean, The Mummy isn't, it's an Evil Dead movie, straight up. And now that doesn't make it a better movie, right? Or a worse movie. I'm just telling you what it's a part of, right? This larger grand universe. But I will admit, a few of the issues I had with the film in terms of familiarity, right? Okay, this is just like Evil Dead Rise, right? Where's the originality? Oh, cool. There's a mummy instead of a deadite. Who freaking cares, right? But then you look at it, and I found that out, and I was like, oh, okay, that makes a lot more sense now, right? Like, there are moments that are a little bit cringy, right? The dad character, Charlie Cannon or whatever, which I know look, I gotta say this. The C-A-N-O-N, canon, right? C-A-N-O-N. That means that The Mummy is canon to the Evil Dead franchise. C-A-N-N-O-N is the name of the guy's last name. So don't get it, okay? Charlie Cannon is the last name of the dad in the movie. It's really weird. But, yeah, so the movie's canon, and the guy's last name is canon. So what are you going to do? But Charlie Cannon in this film is, I think, he does a pretty good job. There's a really funny shot in the trailer where the guy's like, you must understand that your daughter is crazy, and you must be very, very careful not to go inside and disturb her. And, like, you see the mom's face. The mom looks fine. The dad's got these big-ass eyes, and he's like, whoa. He's like really going crazy. And that always kind of made me giggle in the trailer, and it made me kind of giggle in the theater too. They didn't change that. There's a few moments where the dad gets pissed off that his daughter Katie is, of course, abducted and taken. He's kind of like, grabbing a table, and he's like, "Where's my daughter?" And he's freaking out. And it's like, all right, it's a little, I get it, right? Like, you're a dad, and you're mad that your daughter's taken, right? If I was a father, which I one day maybe, I don't know, but if I was a father and my daughter got abducted, yeah, I'd be pretty tilted too, right? I'd be a little shattered. I'd be flipping tables, right? I mean, just saying. So I get it. It's realistic in a sense, but it looked kind of weird. Other than that, though, I do genuinely think that a lot of the actors in this film do a good job. I think that the son is okay. He's fine. He doesn't do a whole lot. He just kind of swears and, like, that's about it. Without getting into spoilers. The other youngest daughter is pretty good. She has a pretty interesting few scenes. The grandma reminds me of the grandma from Gravity Falls. Seuss's grandma, or mom, or whatever. She's like, no. That one. That's what she reminds me of. And she's got some crazy scenes, too. But, of course, the standout character is obviously, I would say, the mom and Katie. And I do genuinely think that the mom gives a really good performance. The dad does a good job too, but I think Katie is obviously the best. And this blew my mind because the girl who plays Katie, obviously in the movie, she looks like she's 8. right? Like in the Mummy makeup and shit. Like she looks like she's 8 or 9 years old. She looks like a really little kid. And then I Google it, and apparently Katie's supposed to be an older teenager. She's actually the oldest sibling, which is, I don't know if she's just like naturally tiny or what, but she's like really friggin' small. And then of course I Googled the actress Natalie Grace, and she's like a hot 22-year-old. So I'm like, I don't know what's going on. We got a 22-year-old playing a teen who looks like an 8-year-old. It's really weird. Because I was expecting, an actual like 7, 8, 9-year-old playing her. I'm like, oh, we got like a new, rising star, kind of like the little girl from Evil Dead Rise, right? She was good in that. And I'm like, oh, we got a same situation. Turns out, no, she's a full-fledged adult who just looks like a 4-year-old. So I'm like, that's kind of weird. But she does a really good performance. I think she's really good in the movie. Obviously, it's very similar to The Exorcist, which I also haven't seen. But I know what happens. I'm a Catholic, right? I know why that happens. Demons are real in my religion. And not ghosts, but demons are. And I think that it's very interesting that they chose this actor, which I've never heard of before, but she was great. She did a really good job. She was, freaky. Obviously, I don't think there's as much gore, as in, I don't want to say in Evil Dead, because it is an Evil Dead film, but as compared to Rise, I'll say, right? I think that, the Mummy definitely isn't as gory or bloody or violent, but that is not to say the movie is properly effed up, okay? There were people on Twitter going like, oh, I had to look away from the screen, I almost threw up, I had to physically, like grown-ass men on Twitter, like if you look on their profile picture, it's like a fucking 40-year-old with kids, and he's like, I had to turn my head away from the screen 4 times! And I'm like, wow, I don't know if this is like good marketing, or this guy's just a baby, but maybe it's me, right? Maybe I'm broken. I feel broken a little bit because I watch these completely jacked up horror movies and like I don't love it, right? It's not like I'm a gore hound and I like want to see people get eviscerated, but like other people in my theater, like that couple that I mentioned, where the dude and the girl was like burying her head in the guy's shoulders anytime there'd be like a like a jump scare or a scary scene or whatever, and I felt bad because I'm just sitting there eating my popcorn, smiling like a little bitch, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm having a good time, right? And the audience is screaming in abject terror, and I'm just sitting there like, well, I got butter, got my drink, I'm good, right? But again, that's because I'm a massive film guy, and I know that films are fake. And honestly, I'm gonna drop a bomb on you guys. I think that YouTube videos are scarier than movies. Because with movies, they're fake. With YouTube, they're probably fake, but you don't have any objective proof sometimes. It's just like, hey, I filmed some ghost at my, local 7-Eleven, flipping a Fanta bottle up, right? And you're like, well, it's probably fake, but, there's no credit scene, there's no director attached, so how do I know it's fake, right? I have to use my critical thinking analysis skills, which leads me to know it's fake half the time, but still. I genuinely think YouTube videos are scarier than movies. Because, again, with movies, no matter how jacked up they are, I know that they're fake. And I get it, right? Like, you want to be transported to a world. You want to believe it's real. That's why people scream and barf and whatever, right? But, like, I don't know. Again, I just feel like a mutant sometimes. Because, like, I'm sitting there and I'm seeing this horror. And it's not that bad, right? Compared to Evil Dead, this isn't as bad. But it is still bad, right? Like, you still see some violent, bloody, gory things in this film. Some disgusting shit. But I'm sitting there and I'm like, well, I know it's all fake, so it doesn't affect me, right? Is it creepy in the moment? Yes. Does it kind of gross you out when you're eating buttered popcorn and someone pukes in a film? A little bit, right? It's a little weird. But I've never gotten grossed out where I vomit or, like, I can't sleep or I'm screaming like a baby. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I think people kind of overhyped this film in terms of the scare factor. Again, I know everyone's different, but maybe I'm just built different like a Ford truck. I don't know, but I can take it, right? Like I can see it and I can go, okay, well that's gross, but at least I know it's corn syrup and they didn't actually murder someone. You know what I mean? Like if they're actually killing people, yeah, I'd probably be, like if I saw a real beheading, I'd fucking throw up, right? But if I saw it in a movie, like when I watch The Hobbit and I see an orc get decapitated, and I'm not like, I'm like, oh, okay, cool, action, right? And I see a horror movie, and I see, a chainsaw through the face, I'm like, I'm not throwing up in my seat, screaming in terror on the floor, writhing in fear, right? I'm like, yeah, that's kind of gnarly, but it's fake, So, I don't know, mini rant aside, I do think that people kind of got a little bit carried away with the marketing. But that's what you gotta do, right? I mean, Terrifier, I've never seen a Terrifier movie. I probably never will because they look absolutely terrible. From every YouTube clip I saw, which, yeah, I pretty much saw all the kills in all those movies. Yeah, they're really messed up. Especially Terrifier 2, the bedroom scene. Look that up if you're bored. Kids, if you're watching this, do not look that up. I don't know why you're watching this anyway. But I do think that, the movie's pretty gross, right? But, I mean, the acting's terrible in those films anyway. But beside the point, yeah, like I said, The Mummy is... I feel like it was a little bit overhyped. Not to say it's bad or it's not as good as whatever, but not, when you put yourself in the same continuity and film franchise as Evil Dead, you have a certain mark to hit. Not just in terms of violence and gore, but in terms of a little bit of camp, a little bit of comedy, a little bit of horror. And yeah, there are genuinely funny moments in the movie, right? For every scene where people are apparently fainting and barfing and peeing and pooping their pants, right? You've got other people who are like laughing, right? Like, there's some funny moments in the movie. And there's a few funny moments in the movie about the gore and about the kills, right? Like part of the Evil Dead, especially Evil Dead 2, and Army of Darkness, and Ash vs. Evil Dead, and a little bit of Drag Me to Hell. I guess there's one scene in Evil Dead Rise, but, really, The Evil Dead, the first one, and then Evil Dead Rise are pretty much, like, straight-shot horror, whereas the other ones are more horror. I guess Rise is too, but, for the most, the other ones are pretty much, like, horror comedy in a way. Army of Darkness isn't really a horror film, it's just an action film. But I think, action comedy. But like I said, this has a certain standard hit, and I think that they actually nailed it. Again, when I did not know it was an Evil Dead film, and it was just a standalone Mummy movie, I was like, yeah, it's good. But it like I said, it feels too close to Evil Dead Rise. And then when I found out it was an Evil Dead film, I said, oh, okay, now I gotta reorganize my thoughts, right? Because, like, all these humor scenes and all these gory scenes and all these different things that happen in the film, it feels completely at home in this Evil Dead franchise. And that's really good that Lee Cronin understands what this franchise is about. And again, it's pretty crazy, right? I mean, you take out the Evil Dead connection, still a good movie, right? I think it's a really good time. The negatives, there aren't that many, like I said. I mean, Charlie Cannon's a little cringy sometimes. The acting isn't always beautiful from, like, the son and the dad, but I think the youngest daughter, the mom, Katie, the grandma, I think they're all pretty good. The kills are pretty messed up. There's some good practical effects in there, some good jump scares. It's a very intense movie. Not just in terms of violence, but also just like the music, the sound design, the editing, the whole idea of a little girl getting kidnapped, right? I mean, that in and of itself is not a good thing. And then there's a certain moment in the film where they kind of force this. It almost feels like torture, right? I mean, like, you have to physically, and obviously, close your eyes. You're not, like, forced to watch it. But the parents in the film are forced to watch this one thing, and it's really freaking intense. But because it's so intense and violent and gory, they have that levity in there, which, yeah, there's some genuinely, like, good jokes and some funny things in there with the grandma, and it feels like a good balance between horror intense and a little bit of comedy, right? And I think they kind of, Lee Cronin kind of walked that line. And obviously, Lee Cronin put his name on this because of the other Mummy films, right? Which, again, that whole Brendan Fraser's not in the Mummy thing, which, sorry, he's not, right? Tom Cruise, this isn't like a joke or a bit. Like, he's not in the movie, straight up. It's an Evil Dead film. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, the marketing for that was kind of funny. Also, Lee Cronin has a very, very blessed name. Very blessed. I think he's very lucky to have a name like Lee Cronin, because the name Cronin sounds like Cronenberg, and it sounds like some kind of Lovecraftian horror Cthulhu type name, right? Like, if you see something by Lee Cronin, The Mummy, like, I don't know about you, but me, I go, oh, that's a scary looking name. You know what I mean? I'm gonna watch that. Now, obviously, I loved Evil Dead Rise, so that's why I saw it. But certain people would see Lee Cronin's The Mummy and go, oh, that's an interesting name, right? That's kind of a creepy name. I'll check that out, right? Like R.L. Stine, right? His name is synonymous with Goosebumps because it's a creepy, weird name, right? Same thing. Stanley Martin Lieber. I mean, you J.K. Rowling, right? And there's so many of them, but Lee Cronin definitely has the benefit of a creepy sounding name to market his creepy film. But yeah, I mean, if you're an Evil Dead fan, it's a no-brainer. Go see this movie in theaters, support it. 110%, you will not be disappointed. If you're not an Evil Dead fan, There are definitely Evil Dead-isms, right? There's a lot of blood, a lot of gore, a little bit of comedy, a few cringy moments which give it that Evil Dead charm, which was done on purpose. You have really good practical effects, a good story, really good acting from the lead role, some creepy, disturbing moments. I mean, it's pretty much everything you want from like a horror film, right? I mean, the top 3 horror films I saw this year were Scream 7, which, yes, I actually like Scream 7. Scream 7 was really good. Send Help was amazing. And now this, The Mummy, right? So there are a lot of really good horror movies, and I think that this one is definitely, it's cool, right? You get like a Scream 7, which is just a guy with a knife or a gun or whatever, right? And then you have Send Help, which is more of a thriller psychological thing, and then you got straight up horror with The Mummy. So if you're a horror fan, there are 3 different versions of that genre that you can enjoy, each one, in my opinion, really good. And I think this is a very, very good addition to the Evil Dead canon. It's a very good movie in and of itself if you take that out. And yeah, I mean, I think there was some controversy around the ending, because there's like it ends, right? It ends on kind of like a somber note, and then like there's an epilogue, but it's not after the credits. It's like it's before the credits, but it feels like an after credit thing. And apparently, I read this online. I don't know if this is true or not, but apparently the scene at the very end of the film, which if you've seen it, you know what I'm talking about. They say it's a reshoot, which I don't know. If it kind of feels like a reshoot, but I don't think it's that bad. I'm not going to ruin it because it ruins the entire point of the film. But I do think that if they kind of omitted that last scene in that one specific place, I think it would have maybe been a better ending. But, not to say it's bad. It's not like, oh, the effects were bad, or, oh, it's unfinished, or, oh, they couldn't get the actor, so they got your mom. It's like, no, like, it's a well-made scene. But I do think that if they omitted that, it would have been a little bit cleaner of an ending. I mean, that's just me. And like I said, there's a few weird moments with Charlie Cannon. His weird bulging eyes are kind of funny. His acting in 1 or 2 scenes is kind of wonky. Nothing earth-shatteringly bad, though. I think, like I said, there's even the best of the Evil Dead movies has some wonky. Like the very first one is a cheesy-ass film, right? It's good, but it's basically like the Evil Dead started off with Sam Raimi directing a college film, pretty much, right? I mean, it's very low budget. And yeah, it's a masterpiece because of what he was able to do with that budget. And the end result for that first Evil Dead movie is really good. But yeah, there's a few weird, cheesy lines and some weird acting because, it's a bunch of young adults getting high or whatever, and they're making a movie, right? I mean, you're going to get some weird stuff in there. But I think that that good movie paved the way for an amazing franchise with, again, The Mummy and Drag Me to Hell being a part of that universe. Like, we're getting, I mean, think about it. We got an Evil Dead movie. We're getting 2 in 1 year. An official one and then one that's also official, but no one knows about it for some reason, right? I mean, I don't know why he didn't call it, like, Evil Dead Egyptian or something. Or Evil Dead Sand, I don't know. But I think that, yeah, I mean, people are disappointed because it's not really a mummy movie, right? It's not connected to the Brendan Fraser and the Tom Cruise. It's very much, I mean, it's literally an Evil Dead film with a mummy instead of a Deadeye, right? Same universe, but it's just a different, idea, so to speak. And I think some people got disappointed by that, or they really, really wanted Fraser and Tom Cruise or whoever, and they didn't get it, and they were all mad, right? Same thing with many other franchises, right? People expect something, and they want something to happen, and then when it doesn't happen, they get mad, and they don't rate the film on what they got. They rate the film on what they wanted. Would it have been cool if we got Brendan and Tom in the movie? Maybe. I haven't seen them, and I'm very happy this is part of the Evil Dead lore. But, even if it isn't, it would still be a good standalone horror film, right? Like, Lee Cronin is a good director. He's a good writer. I think he was able to craft a really horrific, but also kind of sad and, like I said, somber tone of a movie, which has some levity in there, which kind of breaks that apart, which is good. But, yeah, man, I mean, to wrap up, no pun intended, like a mummy, I think that they really did a good job. I think that it's a fun movie. It's entertaining. It's gross. It's gory. It's scary. It's disturbing. It's funny. It's got everything you want from an Evil Dead film and everything you want from a good horror film. So yeah, I mean, let me know what you think down below in the comments. What's your favorite Evil Dead film? This included and Drag Me to Hell included. I think this is up there with some of the best. I think this is better than Drag Me to Hell. I think it's better than Army of Darkness. Better than Evil Dead 1. I mean, it's a very competently made film. I mean, pretty much all of them are. Man, this one hit me in the right spots, man. I really, really wanted this to be great, and I mean, it was. And then, like I said, when I got home and went on the treadmill, and I read that interview, and I saw Lee Cronin literally say that, I literally, I mean, I almost fell off the treadmill. I was like, oh my god, because like some of the issues, like it's too much like Evil Dead Rise, or it's the same thing, but it's just a mummy. Like that is, I mean, still, I guess, valid. But now that it's part of that franchise, it kind of alleviated that in a way where I'm like, oh, okay, like it follows these Evil Dead rules because it's literally an Evil Dead film, right? Because if it wasn't, then that would have been a negative. But thankfully it isn't, and I think that, I walked away happy. People were clapping and cheering when it ended. The girl that was digging her head in the boyfriend or whatever is, I think she's okay. I didn't really check up on her because that'd be weird. I'd probably get beaten up or something. But I think, I think she lived. No one threw up as far as I'm concerned. No one pooped their pants. I didn't smell anything weird. I did a little, but that's beside the point. And I think that at the end of the day, I walked away a little happy. Little in need of a diaper, but I think I walked away happy. Definitely not the most intense and disturbing film you'll ever see in theaters. Not even close, and I know that's subjective, but for me, again, I mean, it's weird, right? Because, like, you get people that, like, watch Star Wars, and, like, me, it's like, yeah, this is, like, an amazing franchise, and I love everything about it, and I know everything about it. And then you get people that, like, literally believe that Jedi are real and they actually have the Force and, like, they're mentally ill, right? It's like that. It's like, yeah, I obviously, get disturbed by films, but at the end of the day, yeah, you paid money to watch a fake thing, right? No one's actually getting possessed and dying horrifically, right? So I think people that, like, barf in theaters and stuff, I don't know. I don't really buy that unless you genuinely have a really, really weak stomach. I mean, hey, if you did that in the theater, tell me down below in the comments, man. We'll talk about it. I mean, the worst I saw was, like, a guy sleeping during Madam Web, which is funny. It wasn't me. Some kid, I think he had a problem. He had a football helmet on for the Lego Ninjago movie, and he was making fucking moaning noises the whole time. That was annoying. It's like it's like going to church and there's like a screaming baby at church. It's like for the whole hour. It's like at some point take your baby out. I mean, for God's sake, like he doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't care. The baby ain't getting the Eucharist. He's not drinking the blood of Christ, right? Well, stop. Just take him out. And, yeah, anyway, I can rant on that forever. But, yeah, like I said, I've had some weird theater experiences, too. Yeah, one that I actually did, but that's another video. But, yeah, maybe I'll make a video about weird theater experiences. But at the end of the day, I walked away happy. It was a very good movie. A few minor issues here or there, but if I were to give Lee Cronin's The Mummy from a 0 to a 10, I'd probably give it like a 9. I think a solid 9 is good. I really, really, I mean, I expected it to be good because it's Lee Cronin and he did great with Evil Dead Rise. But I mean, obviously the fact that it is an Evil Dead film is a little bit brownie points, but that is not at all impacting my final score. I'm happy about it, but that doesn't make the film better. It just makes it more of a cohesive narrative type thing for me. And yeah, I mean, I think like even if it wasn't canon to anything, it was just its own movie, I think we'd have a really good film on our hands, and we do. So yeah, let me know in the comments what you think about Lee Cronin's The Mummy. Are you disappointed it's not connected to the Brendan and Tom movies? Are you glad it's an Evil Dead film? Are you excited for Evil Dead Burn and Wrath? And if you want to, I will pin your comment. Count how many times in this almost 30-minute video, if you have nothing better to do in your life, count how many times I said the word Evil Dead, and I will pin your comment. So that is your that's your challenge. That's your homework, okay? So yeah, let me know down below what you thought about this film. Good, bad, don't spoil it. And yeah, hopefully we'll get that Evil Dead Burn trailer. And by the way, if you guys want to leave, thank you. Make sure to like, subscribe. Peace out. I have one more quick thing if you want to say. The Evil Dead Burn teaser trailer that was shown at that film con thing apparently is not there's a teaser that they're like, hey, if you go see The Mummy, Evil Dead Burn trailer will be shown in front of The Mummy. So I'm like, cool, right? I'm seeing it regardless, so I get to see an Evil Dead Burn trailer? Let's freaking go, dude. And then I went to see it, and they did not play it. And that was genuinely disappointing. I've seen it on YouTube. It's all over the internet. Like, you can literally just go on YouTube Shorts and see it. It looks awesome. But I'm going to wait until the actual trailer comes out and talk about it. But the teaser that I saw was incredible. But when the movie started, and like the lights dimmed in the theater, I literally said out loud, "Are you kidding me?" Like, I was genuinely upset. I was like, I really wanted to see this Burn trailer, and I didn't get it. I was promised it, and then, of course, I Google it, and they're like, well, not every theater, it's only some. And I'm like, well, thanks for telling me beforehand, right? Anyway, I did a lot of rants in this video, but I had a, that's why you're here, right? You come for the good and the bad. But, I can't, yeah. I guess. But yeah, like I said, anyway, that's going to be it. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video, this review. Let me know what you think about it down below. And, hey, we'll talk all things The Mummy and Evil Dead down below in the comments. Thank you guys, and we'll see you officially now in the next video. I'm going to go take a nap in a sarcophagus.